The fat boy swung the sword hard. He hated being ignored. Careless, he tripped on his belly, and the sword pierced his gut. That's how weight loss surgery began. He didn't die. Or maybe did, but that fat boy will become a strong, cruel prince. He'll beat his brother, and badly, a hot ancient elf. She's beautiful and one of the strongest in the kingdom. After that sword incident, he changed completely. Want to know why? The sword that stabbed the boy was the real hero, not him. It had many owners for ages. It was the sword that made heroes in world tales. It befriended a boy from a village named Leberger. Together they did what no one else could. They beat a huge dragon from the icy mountains. After that, Limburg became the country's ruler. Gruhan, the dragon-slaying sword, was put away, asked to guard his friend's family. Then, woke up. Some idiot was swinging him. The fat boy yelled he'd be the sword's master, and swung it hard. Gruhan used his power and saw the boy was his friend's kin despite being a fat pig. The fat boy just wanted nobles, respect, and more lunch refills. He thought Gruhan's power would help, but after swinging it, he tripped on his fat and fell. He never thought this sword would give him weight loss surgery. Friend's kin or not, he's the dumbest I've seen. He just lay there, blaming the sword. No one wanted him as king. He was greedy and proud. This was Prince Adrian Leonberger, greedy and dumb. But things changed after he stabbed himself. Rumors spread he stopped breaking tables and hanging with bandits. But in his room, thoughts were different. Gruhan was shocked he'd killed his friend's kin and now owned his body. Now he was the rebellious prince. Oh, and a pig. Don't forget that. The maid said his master was here. He got angry. The master never visited before. The master saw the prince hadn't changed even after almost dying. He only came to do his duty. But the fat boy didn't know him, using the accident as an excuse for amnesia. Suddenly, the vassals announced the king's arrival. The king, the pig's father, entered. Adrian was impressed by his imposing look. The king thought Adrian was rude for not greeting him, but everyone says Adrian lost his memories. Soon the doctor came to examine him. He had no physical issues, just 300 pounds of fat. Maybe it's a temporary symptom from shock. The king said this was too convenient. His past actions won't vanish just because he forgot. He'll be locked in the castle for a while because of this. He needs to be locked up and starve to lose weight. Anyway, he wanted to know what the guy had done. His mother hugged Adrian, saying he must be confused, but his memory would return. The difference in treatment between his father and mother was clear. She then said she was happy to see him awake. Don't touch dangerous things. She doesn't know. Her son is dead. Nothing can be done now, right? Later, his mother said she'd visit and told him to rest. Adrian processed events, realizing he killed a descendant. He decided to live well for his friend's sake. He was once a sword, cleaning up messes now. He's a fat, untalented body. Can use brute force again, having trained children. First, he needed to refine his mana heart. He breathed in, feeling it. The chubby kid felt mana flow, but his body couldn't handle it. He tried again, but nothing worked. What kind of body was this? In his old body, he could force mana. A maid then brought special medicine from the queen. The maid looked unhappy, hoping wouldn't throw the cup again. He was surprised to feel mana in the cup. He quickly drank it all. The maid was shocked. He finished it. He summoned his mana heart again. Glad it worked. It was too little and would vanish soon, but he wouldn't let it. He asked the maid for more medicine. Days passed. He was overjoyed, finally able to create a mana heart. He'd done this often. Suddenly, he felt pain. A flashback hit him. Creating mana heart always brought great pain. He couldn't pass out or mana would reverse. He focused harder, starting the mana heart process. Soon after, he seemed to succeed. With it done, Adrian thought this mana heart was his alone, not for others. A system window appeared. Hana Heart created Adrian. Thought it was like his old sword. Status messages, wondering why it appeared now. Many system messages appeared, saying his origin connection was restoring. He gained buffs, but some skills were locked. His vision and hearing improved. Suddenly his mana was exhausted, realized. His sword sense was, with little mana, he could hear and see better. More mana should bring more change, but he was starving and couldn't do it now. First, he had to adapt to being human. Later, his mother was happy. He drank all the medicine. Also, he valued his own body. Someone appeared. His mustiff, he knew the man, he replied. The boy truly lost his memory. The queen said her brother should help his only nephew. Adrian sensed the man disliked him. The man said he'd only help him lose fat, nothing more. The queen said that was enough. Later, the protagonist suffered in training. His uncle said he needed permission for everything, even breathing. He told him to forget princely treatment. He must work hard. If he changes his mind, I might teach him some secret swordsmanship. The boy was furious. He wanted to teach the instructor who trained the invincible knight and the founding king. 1 in 88, 189, they should bet. Months, he'll make him acknowledge him, first breaking that arrogant look. 91, if he fails, he'll do anything. He succeeds, he gets one wish. The old man was surprised but accepted, needing entertainment. 194, Adrian thought he spoke well. His large body didn't help. 96, he had no choice but to use mana. First, he'd burn off all his body fat. 198, 199, the old man watched, then smacked the kid asking if he made a mana heart. 201s. He said he did it recently, asking if the old man regretted the bet. 203, the old man asked what he was thinking, and where he learned to refine a mana heart. He didn't know his mistake. Mana heart is a low-level technique, only learned by fifth-rate mercenaries. 206, 207, 208, the kid didn't understand, thinking it was the end times, asking what the old man said it's faster, to show him, telling him to watch. Our boy was surprised. It was mana shaped like a ring. 211, the energy grew, shattering the protagonist's mana. The old man said mana current destroys mana heart sword energy. It's easier and more stable. Count Eli's family, who used mana heart, fell 100 years ago. No one uses it now. 215, 216, 217, 218, 219, 20, 221, 2 time passed. Our boy read books, realizing times changed. Mages use magic circles and night weave mana currents. Night levels depend on currents from single to quintuple. This wasn't absurd. Reading on, he found alt ringgit. The boy was surprised, remembering a man who used a strange technique. Neither swordsmen's nor mages who once sought him. 224, 225, 226, 227, 228, 229. He thought the name was familiar, wondering what happened to him. Later training, his uncle asked if he read the book, implying he should understand his foolish choice. The confident kid said he made no mistake. 231, not all mana hearts are the same. Have you heard of level differences? His uncle asked what he meant, saying some mercenaries are like him. 234, 235, 236, 237, 238, 239, 240, 241. They delude themselves as ancient heroes. Do you know what happened to them? They couldn't pass 2 currents and were defeated. If you're different, defeat a double current knight. Then I'll be your guardian, as your mother wished. Our hero asked if that was good. Everyone fell silent. His uncle, annoyed, said he was a Count Northern Army commander and one of the 5 Silver Lions. He has many titles. 244, 245, 246, 248, 249, 250, 251, 252, 253, 255, 256. He's also a 4-ring knight among other titles. His name is Valahard. Who could outrank him? Are those qualifications enough? Soldiers raised swords, telling Valahard to step back. This guy is a beast. They stared each other down. Later, the protagonist was worn out. His uncle said, that's enough for today. Minutes later, our hero walked through the castle, thinking he almost died. Opened a door. Someone said he was waiting. Adrian remembered the royal physician who said he didn't know what to do. With his highness remembering someone so humble. 258, 259, 260, he asked why he was there. Physician said the queen ordered healing magic. He cast the spell, but Adrian quickly threw him out, saying it would waste all his effort. 262, 263, 64, 25. A knight watched. Adrian surprised. A kid opened the door asking for his brother. Stared at the protagonist. The brat, eating, asked who that idiot was. The knight whispered it was the 3rd prince. The prince said he heard about his accident, but he seemed more intact than expected. 269, 270. The protagonist said the prince had nothing better to do, asking it came to provoke him. He was looking for a fight. The prince got angry, thinking he was an idiot who stabbed himself. He mentioned interesting news. He heard he bet with Count Valahard and would duel a double current knight. 73, if so, could I be your opponent? Things are heating up. Later, Adrian wondered what that was, and if all Leon Bear's descendants were like that. Suddenly, that night Prince Gillian was famous for his sword talent since childhood. 278, having 2 rings at 14, was impressive. A maid appeared, saying letters arrived for him. 280, the kid had no idea. He looked at the letters. Each was a duel request. It's a chance to legally beat that idiot, right? 283, 284, our boy wouldn't back down. He called the maid, asking her to write down all the names. 286, later the protagonist trained. His uncle told him to pick up the sword. 288, 289, 290, 291, 293, 294, 295, needed to know basics for the bet. No. Adrian picked up the sword, so feeling muscle pain. His uncle was surprised, asking if he got healing magic. The protagonist said, a knight knows healing only normalizes muscles, not grows them. Valahard accepted silently, up the sword, and said he wouldn't show it many times, so pay attention. This is the kingdom's basic knight training style. 298, 299, 300. He then demonstrated his swordsmanship skillfully. Was truly good. The protagonist was surprised by the basic sword style. Valahard said it was good for fundamentals. Enough his talent. The protagonist laughed, remembering it was the dragon slaying style. His uncle said it wasn't enough for the bet, suggesting another master. The boy refused, saying the style was his uncle. Surprised, let him do as he wished. Our hero trained, finding it odd that the dragon slaying sword was now just a training He knew its true power came from the will, within which others had forgotten. Valahard blocked his strike, explaining that arm strength alone doesn't make the sword strong. He showed the boy how to use his whole body for proper sword strength. The boy stood up, vowing to prove the sword's worth, even with his weak body. Days and weeks passed. A month passed. The system announced his constitution had changed after hard training. His immense obesity became ordinary obesity. His metabolism sped up, and his body adapted to training. He was slowly becoming strong. A tank, he now wielded the sword more naturally, gaining power daily. His furious uncle told him to stop. The boy's sword fell, and silence filled the air. The protagonist's hand bled. From training, his uncle approached, seeing the destroyed training dummy. It looked like lightning had struck in the rain. His uncle said a real sword would have caused an accident. The kid listened silently, his hand covered in calluses. The system appeared, stating he reached extreme concentration. He collapsed unconscious. Valahard watched, calling him an idiot but gaining respect. Later, he woke up realizing he'd passed out. He recalled his past as a sword, achieving much with many heroes. He brought glory to wars, uplifted body and soul, and guided many. His name was Gruhan, a wise advisor and great teacher. Still, he was always just an observer. He kept swinging his sword, driven to make the effort and results his own. This weak body will break soon. He needs balance. A month passed since he made his mana heart. He gathered mana ready for the next stage. The boy concentrated the system, said constant training built up, mana letting him withstand more. His mana heart expanded, improving. The kid opened his eyes. His training results were showing. The young man grabbed his sword. The system announced he reached sword apprentice level. He could now do the basics using common aura. Later, Adrian trained. His uncle appeared, saying rumors spread because of the bet. He suggested finding a dual opponent. Adrian said he already chose one. Facing a double current at once would be hard. Better to fight single current users first. Adrian called a knight, who confirmed all duel requests were ready. The knight asked if he planned to hold practice duels. Most people held grudges and might try to harm him during the duels. Our boy knew this, so his uncle would be the judge. He only asked his uncle to prevent deaths during the duels. A day passed and the duel began. The first participant was at the castle gate, thinking about the prince. His name was Taylor, second son of a common noble family. Years ago, that guy insulted his father and brother badly. Their family's honor fell, and his father and brother were mocked by nobles ever since. He vowed to make Adrian pay. He greeted the prince, introducing himself as Taylor, single current knight. Adrian said no need for formality in an unofficial training match. Still, he wondered if the man was truly a knight, as he seemed weak. Taylor grew furious, thinking the rumors about his arrogance were true. Valahard appeared, telling him to withdraw his aura as the duel. The man admiring Valahard said it was an honor to meet him. Adrian noted Valahard was being treated like the prince. His uncle said he should behave better. Duel. They stared. Taylor activated his aura and charged. The boy summoned his mana heart, blocking the strike. Taylor was surprised by Adrian's sword style and backed away. He exclaimed that a mana heart shouldn't block a mana current, asking if it was because he was a one current knight. Everyone was surprised. Valahard thought this is the song of the sword. Taylor couldn't believe his attack was blocked. He charged Adrian again. The kid watched Taylor, blocking every strike. Taylor, tired out, the boy panted, thinking mana truly drains the heart. Honestly, his mana feels like it's about to reverse. He asked if he was Baron, Tailheim's second son. He needed to calm down. Closing his eyes, he entered a trance, telling something to awaken, thinking the sword was part of his soul. Then a huge dragon awoke. Adrian thought this the sword's memory, the heart's power to slay dragons. This is the dragon-slaying sword's true power. He's doing this in such a body. Blessed power rose. Taylor tried to understand what was happening. Just then, Valhard told them to stop the duel. But Adrian didn't listen and lunged at the boy. Suddenly, a flashback. The protagonist told his uncle he had a request. If it looks like he'll kill his foe, stop him. And that's exactly what happened. The protagonist was thrown far. Valahard wasn't playing. The kid was wrecked. Soldiers helped man, saying his act could be royal attempted murder. Adrian stood, telling them to back off. It was his request, but he didn't ask to be knocked out. Then the boy lost consciousness. He woke up later, thinking his uncle's strength was unmatched, far above single-core trash. Luckily, he wasn't hurt. In the end, it worked out. He won the duel. Just then, his uncle appeared, asking what he'd done. He also wanted to know about that impure. He never taught him such a thing. The protagonist confidently said he was true to the sword's essence. Valahard fell silent. He then asked if the sword's essence he imagined was killing intent. It's unsettling but true. The boy was surprised, thinking he'd be lectured about the sword's path being its own refinement. But the man said he's a soldier, not a knight. He walks the path of victory, not righteousness. His sword is too much. If his killing intent is too strong, he won't tell friend from foe. He'll just watch to see if he's consumed by his inner demons. 3 days later, Adrian trained with the guy, asking if his name was Taylor, praising his excellent work. Defending against an uncontrolled sword for 3 days is truly impressive. Then the brat called the maid. She brought a chest. He said he heard she did something unforgivable, unsure if this would help. Either way, she should give this to her father. Training ended. Adrian said he could leave, thinking he didn't owe clean up for that mess. But if he made someone work, he should pay. Time passed, and the prince's duels became kingdom-wide talk. Honestly, I can't say if his fame improved. Days passed, but the expected news never came. Knight's opinions changed. The royal family likely kept them quiet. The protagonist wasn't happy, saying they were just embarrassed, and shut up. Nobles have nothing better to do. Valorard said he had no right to say that. The boy looked at the knight, telling him to spread the duel's result when he left. That should calm rumors. Then the maid appeared, saying a rumor claimed he faked the duel's result with sword power. Adrian got more annoyed, saying he'd forget it and train. He struck his mana hearts, growing stronger. He asked how many opponents left. The knight said 1 more today. Apprentice. Knights don't matter much now. But the guy said the last one truly learned the sword. He didn't just polish the family sword. He joined a knight order to a true talent. Her name is Arwen Karan. As she entered the castle, all soldiers watched her. She has many nicknames from Clifflower to Thorny Rose, and broke many hearts. A remarkable woman. Her to come willingly. The prince must be skilled. It would be interesting if she beat him. Are you rooting against your own side? The Iron Lion Knights compete for top fame and skill in the kingdom. It's a promise for an official spot. Adrian asked why a genius would duel him. He learns a past misunderstanding and realizes he messed up. He asks his maid what he did. She says he insulted her, gets mad at his past self. Flashback. Adrian holds the girl, calls her interesting, and asks her to be his servant. She removes his hand, saying the knight's order isn't his property. Past Adrian called her ugly. Present Adrian thinks she's not. The girl greets him. You haven't changed. The girl didn't seem happy, and Adrian thinks it's his fault. Then Valahard appears, staring at the girl. She greets Valahard, an Iron Lion Knight apprentice. He warns them about the prince's poisonous sword. The duel begins. The girl draws her sword. Adrian expects to see the Iron Lion's rising star's skill. The girl charges straight at him. Her moves impress. He blocks, but his mana flows. She attacks, overwhelming him. Activates his dragon slaying skill, deflecting her. She steps back, surprised. He thinks she's on a different level and uses his system to analyze her. They charge. Everyone is tired. Valahard stops the duel until tomorrow. Both claim they were about to win. Valahard tells them to stop doctors, heal them. Adrian, the girl, watch each other. They leave. Adrian vows not to lose. Time passes. Soldiers say the duel never ends. It's the 3rd day. They're surprised by Arwen's skill and the prince's ability. Hope the duel ends today. Arwen asks if he's apologizing. She won't accept. He says no. They need a prize for this fight. The loser grants the winner 1 wish. The girl is silent. Soldiers are surprised, calling it unacceptable. He asks what she thinks. She says she's an apprentice, but a loyal Leonberger knight. She wouldn't disrespect him, but if he allows it, she'll accept the bet. Adrian draws his sword, warning her not to complain. They duel evenly matched. He's excited and uses his powerful sword skill. She's surprised his sword is faster, thinking he hid his he attacks skill. Arwen defends, then steps back tired. He presses her, strikes again, and a sword flies. The knight is defeated. Soldiers in Valahard are shocked. Adrian confident that he won. Raising his sword, he says he wants her. Being escort knight to the infamous first prince wasn't as hard as she thought. He seemed arrogant, but wasn't malicious. Unlike rumors. Watched Adrian train in the rain, warning of danger. Lightning struck, but Adrian didn't notice. She then felt he would become a great person. Back to soldiers are surprised by his request. The knight couldn't believe it. Arwen asks if he truly desires this. He says she's an apprentice who failed to beat a prince. He wants Arwen Carrion's potential and future. He needs his own Shine. Has great sword. Talent. He asks her again to be his knight. She's silent, thinking she's finally seen for her potential. Asks him to promise to always treat her as a knight, not a woman. If he does, she'll do his bidding. They stare. Adrian promises. She kneels, swearing loyal to Prince Adrian, dedicating her life and sword. Valahard watches her his knight. Time passes. She trains. People couldn't believe she swore loyalty to Adrian. Overheard, wondering if his past self was the problem. Knight watched. Later, Adrian asked if he was upset. He admitted he'd leave if ordered, but could make a vow later. The guy seemed serious, asking if Adrian would accept his vow. But he quickly says no, it wouldn't be interesting to raise him. The knight laughs, saying he understands. Adrian thinks he's serious. Later he reads a letter. His suspension is over. He'll attend the banquet. He was released early, thinking the king never wanted to see him again. He doesn't understand the king. The knight asks if he's happy. Adrian says it doesn't matter. He has nowhere to go. A maid another invitation. Adrian reads it, asking about the social club for special young masters. The maid says he was a member. Asks if it's strange. Her face shows it is just parties and drinking. Adrian says to ignore it as he's training. Reading the letter again, he sees it's from his friend Bernardo of the Eli family. Adrian remembers his uncle said the Eli family, who held the man of heart, fell 100 years ago. It was that family. He decides he must go to the party, hoping their family isn't. 4 months in, he's trained, lost weight, and looks handsome. He notes his weight loss. Companion says his measurements halved. Adrian says he'll leave banquet clothes to fit him as his size will change. A time passes, he heads to the social club for social masters. In the carriage, he thinks being prince is exhausting. Smiles, carriages, escorts, all suffocating. He saw the maid's shoulder wound. She blamed her own failure, saying he'd regret it. Adrian knew this. Body held many bad stories. He'd seen her often, but didn't know her name. She was Adelia Byron from a minor noble family, Adrian recalled. A time before kingdoms when weak humans were easily killed. Heroes ended that era. Humans dominant. 5 Prince Elector existed. 1 hero wielded him as a sword, defeating Giant King and ending their rule. Agnes Byron, Lady of the Iron Sword, was one such hero. She cursed wildly in battle, making Adelia must be her descendant. He wondered how her family fell. A knight announced their arrival. He quickly exited, saying he'd speak with Adelia later. The girl was confused. Someone Bernard of the Eli family welcomed him, expressing great joy. Adrian wondered if this was the Eli descendant. Bernardo noted his weight loss. Bernardo asked if something was wrong. Adrian said he was glad. Bernardo came, and it would be a fun day. Bernardo remained confused. The scene changed to an unsuitable place for young people. Bernardo found it odd that Adrian wasn't flirting. His mood seemed different. A noble stood, saying rumors spread of Adrian winning the Iron Lion castles. Flower. Adrian stared, praised the girl's beauty. Adrian asked if he had siblings. The noble said only a sister. Adrian then punched him. Everyone was shocked. Adrian said good, his family's line won't end. He kicked the noble, declaring his sister the family heir. He kept punching him as others watched, stunned. The noble asked why. Adrian told him to listen. He doesn't care if people think he's a bastard, but he won't be treated like one. People were more shocked, but he kept beating the noble, who was thrown far away. Adrian called Bernardo, reminding him of his fun day comment. Bernardo, confused by his sudden rage, ordered court knights. Awkward silence filled the hall. Adrian told all women they could leave. A noble objected. Adrian said only women could leave. If he left, leave as a woman. Everyone fell silent. Adrian noted the disrespect, laughter, and insult to his knight. He asked what crime charged them with. Knights arrived, stating insulting royalty and defying authority were treason. They asked for orders. Adrian smiled, saying, everyone here. Time passed. The king in his room noted Adrian's immediate trouble after his suspension. 14 noble sons arrested. Adrian asked if the king worried about the fallout. He said their families had disowned them. They were lost. Causes. Send letters. King fell silent, then dismissed Adrian. Time passed. Adrian told the maid not to be nervous. He wouldn't hurt her. Trembling, she asked if Adrian thought the prince must have abused her. Her family's glory was forgotten, their art lost, their pride vanished. Yet she had interesting stats, including a war craze trait, like the past girl. He wondered if he could control her madness. She had S-rank, talent, and a slave spirit. Trait, finding joy in a master. He asked her to swear loyalty. She was told to become his knight now. She knelt, saying she couldn't bear it. Adrian reminded her family was minor. He'd responsibility her if she swore loyalty and served him. He thought he'd help her control her madness. She asked if he'd truly care for her family. Adrian offered to bring them to the capital. Overjoyed, she immediately swore loyalty, vowing to serve him. He told her to obey his orders. Everything was set, but Adrian doubted his choice. Only time would tell. Rumors spread. The prince was a scoundrel again. He forced a knight's oath, beat noble children, and imprisoned them. Now he made a mate, his knight, clearly building a harem. He was unfazed, wondering why everyone cared. He just accepted a knight, yet faced constant criticism. The maid announced the queen's arrival. The queen thought he'd changed, but he seemed to revert. She found it interesting. A marriage would end her boring life. She told him to trust her to find a partner. She left confidently, was confused later. Adelia asked if she'd get mana. Adrian confirmed, saying she'd developed special mana. He remembered the forgotten sword empress. Her every move, an aura enveloped Adelia. The system's mana entered her body. A mana heart formed. Adrian explained it was a mana heart refinement method she must practice. He staggered, thinking it pathetic to be so weak after creating 1 mana. Adelia asked if he was okay. Why he do this for her? Adrian said he was fine and dismissed her. He asked why she stared. She vowed lifelong loyalty. He smiled, her to remember he was her master. He left, fearing she'd forget. Days passed, said Bernardo. Was held as a witness. One could see him until trial. Adrian asked if he'd testify. The knight said royals don't. The maid worked. Adrian asked about her mana heart stability. She confirmed it. He told her to change and join his training, saying it was time to shed her old clothes. Minutes later at the training grounds, Valahard asked what he was doing. He said he was warming up. Valahard meant the girl, he sees. He was making her a knight, as rumored. His uncle asked if knights were so trivial. Adelia appeared, having finished 10 laps. Valahard was still upset. Adrian told Adelia to pick up a sword he'd teach her stances. He showed movements, asked her to copy. She grabbed the sword, her expression changing. Valahard was surprised. Adrian couldn't believe she copied it perfectly after one look. She naturally asked if her stance was correct. Adrian thought he'd be surpassed. If he wasn't careful, her trait was submission to the strong, respect for the weak. He was wary, remembering how that bastard intimidated. Valahard changed his mind, amazed by her talent. Adrian told him to stop, not to misunderstand Valahard. Asked what he, a novice, could do for her. He couldn't handle her potential. Adrian fell silent, thinking. He had an aura that would make that bastard flee. But wasn't that person now, he thought. If he couldn't handle her, no one could. He had destroyed countless beings. The sword Gruhan system showed a soul manifesting through his will. The dragon-slaying skill appeared. Valahard watched, unmoving. Adrian casually claimed the girl was his. He hated when others took his things. Uncle stayed silent. Reality fading, realizing Gruhan's soul might consume his weak body. Opened, hands lunged. He didn't move. The scene returned. Uncle said an ordinary knight saves 10 soldiers. An exceptional 1 over 100. This child might save 1,000. He explained he had said her body and soul belonged to him, so she couldn't follow his words. Valahard fell silent. Adrian thought it was worth bringing her soul. A subservient nature submits to higher power. He asked Valahard if he had nothing else to do, as his goal was weight loss. He shouldn't interfere if he visited. Valahard agreed. His uncle kept visiting to watch Adelia. Unable to complain, Adrian found his arrogant an aura surrounded Adelia's sword. Both were surprised. Adrian wondered if she mastered sword resonance. Delighted, he praised her, thinking she might surpass. His uncle angrily asked if he taught her mana heart, calling it a trivial technique. Adrian glared, telling him his uncle, disappointed, said he ruined a greater path. Fed up, Adrian told a knight to remove him, but his uncle left. Adelia asked if her technique was trivial. Said no, people forgot true mana hearts. They discarded it, but she'd learned its power. A day passed. Adrian was surprised his uncle returned. Valahard said he'd use. If Adrian pressured him, he'd acknowledge him. Adrian grabbed his sword, asking, wager, a wish for the winner. Valahard offered. I think Adrian said that wasn't what he wanted, but it was enough for now. He charged. Valahard easily dodged, saying he aimed for the neck, calling it a cruel sword. Adrian repeated the move, focused. Valahard blocked, asking if that was all. The young man stepped back silently. Valahard asked if he gave up. Adrian said no, finding his uncle annoying but strong. He waited for Valahard to use mana, expecting a worse defeat. He then changed the subject. He noted how 400 years ago mana heart knights did great deeds, but a new technique made their skills seem worthless. Everyone thought mana chain was stronger. Valahard asked his point. Adrian said his view differed. The mana heart wasn't weak, its master was. Not mana hearts were alike, he asked. If Valahard knew of a Kulik poem, Valahard snapped. This is for fighting, not singing. Adrian say that given his view of mana heart as a low-level skill. Adrian summoned mana, reciting a chant. A knight's path becomes achievement. Without victories, there's no pride or power. Achievements in the heart become a chivalric poem dwelling in the knight's sword. The systems announced chivalric poem created. He thought it a small accomplishment from 6 months of effort. The true power of mana heart, Valahard said, the result would be the same. A mana heart couldn't beat mana current. Adrian charged. His uncle said elven mana reversed heart mana flow. Adrian struggled. His uncle was eased, calling him stubborn. Adrian smiled, remembering over 100 duels and 1,000 mana pressures to get this poem forged to fight current knights. An explosion. Dual poem power. They fought for real. He attacked confidently, wondering how long his uncle would last. Valahard coated his sword with aura, counterattacking. Adrian stepped back. His uncle was confused. Adrian reminded him not all mana hearts were alike. Valahard called him arrogant, then charged, throwing him against a wall. Playtime was over-acknowledging his impressive resistance. Falling, Adrian thought a common poem wasn't enough. He gathered himself. 400 years ago, knights erred, leaving no enemies. Techniques and poems were passed down, but time eroded them. Songs and giant kings became myths. New poems couldn't surpass heroes. He said monocurrent wouldn't reach transcendence. Valahard said he didn't understand him. Adrian thought Valahard foolish, arrogant. It was time they saw what they lost. He'd show him a mana heart's true power. He recited another chant. The system warned his skill couldn't support the poem's grade. He managed less than a quarter. Cut dragon scales. His uncle blocked, struggling, fearing consumption. An explosion threw Adrian away. His uncle stood. Adrian asked if he only used one. He used four. His sword split. Adrian got up. Valahard thought heart mana was inferior. Adrian declared. Valahard defeated. Timedrian suffered, tossing in bed. The chivalric poem caused this the price for pushing the Dragon Slayer's myth-grade power. His heart was in pieces, but the sacrifice was worth it. His first self-made poem, he'd face greater challenges. Adelia appeared happy. He woke, saying there was a commotion, and his mother was nervous. Valahard asked to be told when he woke. Adrian told her not to. Wanting rest, he felt the effects. If he didn't heal, his spirit, memories, and reality would tangle, leading to madness, reliving glory, a distorted world. He'd become human, only to be trapped by a swordsmine past. Adrian said Agnes Byron was a formidable swordswoman. Adelia, her descendant, might inherit her. Adelia was surprised. Adrian said she needed to evolve to match the poem's rank. He asked her plans after mastering the sword. She fell silent, unsure. He could tell him later. She said she'd remain his sword. Adrian was surprised. Some poems began with trumpets, others with war's first step, but some with a sincere oath. The system announced Adelia offered a poem of submission. He wondered if it was her chivalric poems could influence others. A new chivalric poem was created, common class. Adrian said the poem of submission was a hymn to a master's loyalty vow, even with subservient traits. He never expected the Sword Queens descended to have one. He got unexpected help. He concluded Adelia's growth would benefit him as long as he was the poem's target. Thanked her, unsure how the benefits would appear. Days passed. He seemed unhappy. His nights were silent. Mother asked if he was well. He said yes, thinking it easier to deal with haters than those who liked the original owner. His mother asked if he resented his uncle, saying he didn't mean harm. Adrian said no, nervously. Said he was rude, so he must be lying, he casually said. He felt nothing having gotten back at him. His uncle's pride was denied. It must be hard. He planted a heart demon. If his uncle endured, he'd grow. He didn't care what happened after. His mother said his uncle lived by the sword, so he was rough. Yet, he must like Adrian, having persuaded the king to lift his confinement early. But the incident made uncle's position difficult. Adrian realized why his uncle acted unpleasantly. He wondered why his uncle did this. An old man appeared with books. Adrian hated it, throwing fit about studying. The old man said those who don't seek knowledge are like animals. Adrian asked if he called him an animal. The man said he'd just started, so not yet. Adrian confidently said he knew everything, no need to learn more. The old man proposed discussing topics. If Adrian's claims were true, he'd leave him alone. Adrian accepted. Later he thought one must be careful with those behind you. Too much freedom leads to disrespect. Didn't understand. The old man said it was fine, handing him a book, saying it would be interesting. They continued the boring study. Time passed. The old man said they'd continue tomorrow. Adrian surprisingly enjoyed it. Minutes later, he realized it was normal lessons was smart. The old man was surprised, finding the prince unlike rumors. Day passed. He lay bored. If he was too diligent, Adelia announced Lord Valahard. Happy for a visitor, he let him in, thinking it was time after their duel. Valahard looked beaten, still affected by the heart demon. He silently apologized for breaking his promise and injuring him. Adrian thought his injury was from forcing the dragon-slaying poem, not his uncle's blade. He remembered his mother's words. His uncle's situation was now difficult. He's still feeling awful. Offered an arm or an eye. Adrian asked why he'd wanted it. He thought his uncle, once a swordmaster, was now stuck a heart demon. He'd be generous. His first wish was to go out. Valahard said his house arrest was over. Adrian meant farther, the capital. Valahard said it would take time. A banquet was soon. Adrian dismissed his concerns. Valahard would contact him when the schedule was set. Adrian asked why. The knight stared. The knight found his request unexpected. Given Valahard broke his promise, Adrian felt sorry for the stubborn man. The knight laughed. Adrian said he was getting too comfortable. Adelia brought a letter from Arwen, who achieved something and hoped to visit soon. He happily noted, "It's good timing." 5 days later, his uncle confirmed 2 more days until departure. A week passed. In the carriage, he asked about their route. The knight, annoyed, said he couldn't sit. Still, they were going to Count Ellen's territory, the palace's main weapons center with an iron mine and blacksmith's guild. Over half the royal weapons came from that clan. Adrian, now stronger, needed his own sword. He couldn't get one from the royal arsenal. Due to his past actions, he'd need to find a weapon outside the palace. Valahard, surprisingly thoughtful, arranged a 20-day journey, 3 days to Count Ellen's, 2 to Iron Lion. castle then back. He sat in the carriage for 3 days, bored by his companion. He decided to check his mana heart. It was empty from using the dragon poem, but it was time to refill. His senses were sharp. He gathered mana fragments from the air and Knight's voices. He refilled his mana heart, which was now the system warned of an impossible miracle, a glimpse of immense will. Adrian realized this was forcing the dragon poem. The system announced he reached sword specialist level. His connection to the source improved, restrictions lifted, and his third eye enhanced. He saw his body had evolved. The scene shifted to Count Ellen's mansion. Huge Edgar of Ellen and Torrance greeted them, expressing honor. Adrian thanked them. The man in red offered to show them to their rooms. Walking through the mansion, Adrian noted it was a weapon-producing place, but the weapons were flashy and useless. He'd struggle to find what he needed. He asked if the blacksmith's guild was nearby. Minutes later, the butler warned that blacksmiths were rude and stubborn, often ignoring lords. He did for mercy. Their behavior offended, calling it artisan spirit. At the forge, the man warned of intense heat. He watched silently, hearing roaring flames and hammering. One sound was clear. He recognized it, thinking this was it. His first memory was being Adelia noted his sweat. He turned away, watching the blacksmith. All blacksmiths greeted the Grand Prince. The butler pointed out the guildmaster. One man kept forging. An annoyed man ordered him to stop and greet the prince. Adrian told him to be quiet. He saw the young men looked. He said the iron was cooling. If they wanted the fire to die, they could stand there. Gerald resumed forging. Adrian watched the incredible blacksmith, wondering what he saw. In him later, the butler said the man had forged and melted swords for 6 and asked if they were failures. The butler said no, he was a master. His swords flawless. A mystery why he melted them. For a month, barely slept, focused on work. They worried about his health. Adrian thought him a true. Days past, the prince came early to the forge, daily leaving late. The old Adrian. No incidents occurred, despite rumors. Day of departure arrived. Still watched the blacksmith. Regretted not seeing it finished. He said he had to leave at dawn for a farewell party. Day broke. Butler announced the master finished his sword. He rushed the artisan, who wiped blade of a masterpiece. Old man knelt, dedicating the sword to him. Everyone was surprised. Adrian thought it needed heating like the sun, then cooling to a king's purple. A king's sword would be born. He was confused. Asked the sword's name. Blacksmith suggested twilight, dawn, or dusk. To him, dusk. To Adrian praised his words. The man looked ill. Falling, relieved the sword was done. Adrian helped, saying they'd stay another night. Time passed. Adrian cared for the blacksmith. The blacksmith said the sword took shape when Adrian stood behind him as if by fate. The sword. Adrian asked if he saw it that way. He leaned closer, telling him something unknown likely about being a sword. Man said he could be God, but now understood. He asked to see the sword, wishing it magnificent like it's. Adrian held his hand, saying it would be. Old man died peacefully, having finished his sword. Later, wrapped sword. The butler said he couldn't value a sword forged with a soul. It might not suit him. He offered another magic sword. Adrian was surprised, calling it a good mid-grade weapon, but he said a master's soul-forged sword was a magnificent gift. The butler realized his mistake, having given away both swords. He messed up. Everyone prepared to return to the capital. He watched silently. Valahard said to get ready, they'd ride fast to Iron Lion Castle. By night, Adrian casually said he couldn't ride a horse. Everyone was surprised. A sword, after all. Time passed. He had problems, but all worked out. They reached Iron Lion Castle a day late. Soldiers appeared. York Willow greeted the prince. Adrian noticed the unhappy soldiers there. Was a reason. He provoked them, calling for Arwinj. Greeted him, eager to see him. Everyone boiled with hatred, wanting to attack him. Adelia reacted similarly. Adrian, hand on her shoulder, she calmed. Good to awaken her subservient nature early, Adrian told Arwen to follow him. They had much to discuss. Thought it better if the others came too. Later, a sword. He wanted to see Iron Lion swordsmanship set to be the best. He asked who would fight him. Soldiers argued. Adrian watched, saying if his rank was a burden, he'd guarantee no one would be blamed for the duel's outcome. He asked if no one would step forward, calling the Iron Lions cowardly. A soldier Dale accepted, saying he wasn't worthy. But dare, Adrian said not worry. He invited him. Soldier charged. Adrian calmly blocked. The redhead struggled, then was easily thrown. Manaheart was overpowered. Told the next one to come. Another soldier met the same fate. Time passed. He kept beating soldiers. Getting bored, all soldiers lay on the ground. Adrian wanted to fight the official members. He told Arwen she'd accompany him to the capital. She silently accepted. Another soldier appeared. Adrian refused, saying Arwen wasn't a prize. He offered his new sword as a bet. Everyone was surprised. Adrian said Arwen was more valuable than any sword. The short-haired man, Dunron of Fahrenheit, accepted, saying he was near triple current. Adrian called him a double current. Dunran furious, the 17th sword by the swordmaster. If he won, it was his. Adrian said it was a coincidence. He also had a sword from that master, his 100th work finished days ago. Dunran summoning mana said. Adrian walked the wrong path, showed effort. He'd fight his best. Adrian called it nonsense. This was never his place. Respect only came from his own people. Summoning his mana heart, he told Adelia, watch, this was her path. She glowed, vowing to obey. The scene shifted. Valahard asked how many they'd visited Iron Lion Castle for, said his companion. The fourth prince wasn't interested. The third and fifth visited during Adrian's house arrest. Second also stopped by. Bad name. The first prince was the rightful heir. Valahard felt responsible for his isolation. He once scolded him for being drunk, and boy attacked him with a sword. The prince was a hopeless scoundrel. Returning north, disappointed, his nephew sent poisoned wine as a gift. He burned the poison with mana, his last affection for the boy. But the scoundrel suddenly changed. Training hard and growing, the man asked if Valahard hadn't said the prince should never be king. His uncle changed his mind, asking for a chance for the young man. Valahard. The companion was speechless, unsure who changed. A soldier at the door. Later, walking through the castle, the companion said his soldiers knew their limits. Nothing would happen. He wouldn't let a royal be knocked out, but he worried about the prince's knight. Just then, a man was sent flying. Wrecked. Everyone was surprised. Adrian. The companion was. Valahard said he told him so. Adrian didn't stop, raising his sword, calling next. A flashback showed Adrian fighting the short-haired man. His current poem not enough. He couldn't use the dragon Slayer's poem on a normal night. He activated his mana heart, his body feeling alien. That feeling returned. He entered deep focus. Their swords clashed. Back in the present, man flew. Adrian defeated every soldier. Near nightfall, he'd beaten many knights. Recited a dual poem. System added a new verse, evolving it from morning to battle. He almost fainted. Knight helped him, respecting his victory. All knights saluted him. Confused, he thought they wanted to tear him apart. Moments. Valahard and the other watched. The man said they were simple, only excited by swords and victory. Valahard said he must have expected their resentment, but an honest defeat was better than a dirty victory. Winning or losing didn't matter. Adrian realized one thing hadn't changed. The knight's spirit remained regardless of outcome. Past. Adrian returned to his kingdom, hoping to meet again. Getting into the carriage, asked the count to keep his stay secret. Willowen asked if publicity wouldn't help him. He said this was different. He wanted to prank someone. Later, soldiers rested. Carl scouted. Arwen watched him silently unhappy. Adrian thought she'd adapt. He needed rest. Was in his tent. He still couldn't grasp recruiting an S-rank genius for maid work. Adelia asked if something bothered him. He said he was fine. The Iron Lion Knights were different. His appraisal showed most had B-rank sword talent. In the past, they'd be average, dying in vain. Now they reach sword expert level in 20-30 years. Superhuman abilities fell. Commoner abilities soared. It was likely due to mana current. His uncle, who might have reached transcendence, was displeased by wasted potential. But this era lacked chances for extraordinary feats. It was the time's fault. He didn't know this era well. He had to reevaluate everything. Valahard appeared, saying that was the right attitude. Late, he could achieve his dream. He'd won over the Iron Lions. Prince could connect so naturally. Adrian made a wise choice. Was too nice. Weir didn't understand his uncle, asking if he was crazy. His uncle asked if he forgot their bet defeat a dual current knight, he'd keep his promise. Valahard, commander of the 3rd Legion, would support the prince. Adrian was stunned, asking when he said he wanted to be king. Time passed. His uncle's declaration shocked the kingdom. Everyone congratulated him. Amid chaos, our hero was there. He called the place a mess, asking them to leave. Carl said they were there by royal order. Adrian asked them to at least stay out of sight. He rested briefly. His brother appeared, accusing him of acting behind his back secretly, learning swordsmanship from Valahard. He'd pay for making a fool of him. Adrian, unsure how to respond, he never wanted the throne. A flashback. Adrian said he'd play along but wasn't interested in the throne. He asked why Valahard started this. Valahard asked if he worried. He was the kingdom's shield as long as royals remembered winter's harshness, the house would be fine. This was inevitable. He asked if Adrian knew the fate of a firstborn who didn't inherit, and hiding wouldn't change it. He'd get time, but his legitimacy wouldn't vanish unless he died. After that, his uncle left. Adrian said no time would change his mind. He needed to regain his transcendent authority and power, not succession rights. Or so he thought. At the party, he entered a tense atmosphere. Everyone stared. A hooded figure watched. The banquet began. He felt something bad would happen. Descending stairs, he wondered if these were nobles. They all had the serpent heart trait, marking those who exploit others. A small group up front was worth watching. Taylor. He thought they should have talked. Taylor wasn't corrupt, which was enough. They'd be vessels for planting the seeds. A soldier, announced Ambassador Quan de Bourgogne-Meliere. Everyone bowed to the high-ranking noble. The man said it had been long. Adrian was surprised. The name A flashback was the man they fought 400 years ago who scarred the country. Yet he dared appear. A noble tripped soaking. The man apologized. Adrian stared, saying it was fine. He asked Carl who the man was. Carl said Marcus Bierfeld. Adrian said not everyone is rotten. His anger cooled. Minutes later, washing his face, his uncle appeared, saying Marcus Bierfeld thought he'd caused trouble. His uncle wasn't wrong. Adrian was furious. His uncle asked his plan. He said he wasn't stupid, but couldn't understand why the Bourgogne house flaunted power, revered more than royalty. It wasn't peace or alliance. Did it come to this? Uncle said no special story. Kingdom resisted empire invasions. Knights fought, but the empire grew. The kingdom had to kneel. Adrian thought that was why, despite being small, kingdom had something to resist. Piled achievements, myths, and the knight's poem. All were lost. He then declared he wanted to be King. Valahart was surprised. Adrian thought he might regret it, but he had to do it. He built half this country. He returned to the banquet. Nobles seemed worried. Adrian found etiquette sloppy, worse than for foreign nobles. He recalled his friend's country boys becoming kings. He recited Knight's poem. It was bearable compared to the dragon slayers, but perfect. A crown and cape appeared on him. Everyone stared, then bowed. Much better, Adrian said, telling them to rise. He felt a different energy. The hooded girl removed her hood. Elf, surprised someone remembered chivalric. Adrian recognized her, wondering why that lunatic was there. Humans saw elves as beautiful, kind forest gardeners living hundreds of years. But they were cruel, using beauty as bait. High elves, born heroes. More dangerous was Sigun, an ancient high elf nearly 1,000 years old. From the dragon-slaying expedition 400 years ago, she was obsessed with him after her master died. Had she recognized him? She asked if they'd met. Looked familiar. Adrian shook his head, saying it was his first time seeing an elf. She stared. He thought Sigun was powerful 400 years ago. He couldn't imagine her now. She said humans react two ways to elves. Seduced, some masters stay guarded. He didn't seem to be at that level. Adrian said he just had different tastes. She got nervous, put her hood back on, said it was a pleasure, and left. Adrian thought he saw for now. Girls lined up for him to choose. A child. His mother spoke, a princess needing wisdom and virtue. A soldier announced an elf delegation, requested an audience. Sigun, the hooded girl, appeared, greeting Queen Margarita. She noted elves hadn't visited in long. Sigun said the queen sought a bride for the prince. She removed her hood, revealing herself as a high elf of ancient lineage, her age not far from the queen's. She said elves who keep their beauty are ideal partners. She felt their fates aligned upon seeing him. He was surprised, wondering if elves truly never lied about fate. Margarita listened, surprised. Everyone discussed it. Adrian quickly took her hand, saying they must speak alone. Minutes later, asked her true objective. She said it was to strengthen ties. Asked again, calling her Sigun, executioner, sword of the mistletoe tribe. Asking if her goal was investigation or execution. Her expression changed. Asked how he knew. Adrian watched, thinking she was a monster beyond his current measure. If she set destiny, she glimpsed his soul's past. She said he knew she was an executioner, yet remained silent. Warned that talking too much, an executioner, was foolish. She must stop interfering with his destiny. She must only feel curiosity now. This continued. His human destiny would be wasted by a crazy elf. He needed to provoke more interest. Sigun asked who he was. Said he was a pathetic prince, abandoned by his father. If curious, she should wait and see. Was surprised, knowing something was strange. They wouldn't send her on a foolish mission, but now she understood it was because of him. He, wanting to leave, thought her disturbing. Later, in the king's hall, they held hands before the queen. Declared he'd accept the engagement. Thought it was too fast, never imagining saying her name so casually. It was too important to decide quickly. He'd observed for the queen, it was time to consider. For Sigun, time to mature. Time to gain strength to escape the insane elf. Later, the other prince, furious, said Adrian's only advantage was birthright. His uncle supported him. He took the iron lies and flour. Now he pursued an elf. Didn't matter. He had a duel scheduled. His intentions were bad. Duel arrived quickly. He was calm. The other prince showed off his preparations and spectators, hoping not to disappoint. Adrian said he talked too much. The prince charged. Adrian said he'd been too busy to just play around. The prince fell in seconds. Everyone, including the other knight, was surprised. The winner was declared. Adrian left immediately. Rumors spread. Prince Gilhan's loss. Gilhan woke, asking for his equipment to decide the winner. He wouldn't give up, another knight said. Adrian left with Valahart, the north. On the way, Valahart praised his horse riding. Adrian said it wasn't hard. He asked why the rush after the banquet. Adrian said the capital wasn't for him. He wouldn't stay with those who ignored their own master and served the empire. He fit better with knights than his uncle said. Knights were less calculating but more conservative. Their boring talk continued. His uncle felt he was reckless. Adrian thought if delayed, he'd marry that lunatic, and everyone who did died. He needed strength. The battlefield was the place to grow. where humans were tested and poems born. Valahard said valleys were the Blade Mountains, his family's frontier. Adrian shivered, saying he'd adapt. So Cold said she was fine. Adrian said she could switch if it got hard. She replied, and I could seek comfort. He was glad for her. Motivation. Others complained about being forced there. Carl would have handled them. A flashback. The king said royal sect knights weren't personal ones, explaining why Carl couldn't go north. Despite his mistakes, Adrian was flesh and blood. The king's attitude seemed there was a stream. Valahard urged them to hurry or they'd be caught. The storm passed. Valahard told them to leave carriages, take horses, and Adrian thought he used mana to shout. He called Adelia, helping her down. Arwen asked if he was okay. The storm worsened. Adrian told Arwen to care for Adelia. He ordered the others to drop shields. Gear would be carried away. Drop everything but swords. Every step was heavy. Adrian went back, picked up a fallen man and carried him. He's a beast. They marched, finally finding the fortress. Storm ended just as they arrived, sky clearing as if it were illusion. Valahard, ruler and commander, welcomed Prince. He looked around happily as his uncle welcomed him to Winter Castle. Castle, a northern fortress, stopped monsters, was the worst post for soldiers, but for those born there, it was a lifetime's duty and pride. Vicente introduced himself, ending his acting command to return as Ranger Company commander. He was glad his father returned. Valahard praised his work. Neither he nor Adrian believed Vala had a son, but they looked and acted alike. Valahard introduced Prince Adrian. Vicente bowed, introducing himself. Adrian looked down, saying it was a pleasure. Vicente, furious, thought Winter Castle was for warriors, not an idiot prince. Kicked from the capital, misunderstandings began. Vicente asked why his father brought him. Valahard said he'd mentor the boy and stay in the kingdom. Confused, Vicente asked if he hadn't abandoned the prince for being an idiot. Valahard looked away, saying people chain. He asked Vicente to observe Adrian without prejudice. Valahard asked about clearing monsters from villages. Vicente said numbers were down, but some areas remained. His father, they'd act. Adrian watched. Problem was orcs of fewer than 20 at the mountain entrance. Ranger couldn't fight them with just arrows, so knights were being selected. Adrian cut in, saying he'll handle it. His companion warned. Mountain orcs were different. Mistakes could harm. Ranger operations. Adrian called his uncle, asked about the orcs' size and strength. Up to 20 were cited, no warrior or shaman confirmed, but possible. Valahard asked if Adrian was confident. Vicente immediately said the entrance was a main ranger route. If it became a battlefield, future work would be harder. If the prince's safety was at risk, Valahard's position would be Adrian. His thought, Uncle Ray, smart son. They planned strategy. Vicente seemed unhappy. Later, he told his knights had a mission to defeat 20 orcs. A knight tried to excuse himself, saying his mission was only to escort. Adrian said that was fine. They'd have to follow to protect him. He left thinking he'd train these assigned soldiers. They seemed unreliable but were elite, so they had decent skills. Some seemed suspicious, specializing in interrogation and disguise. Vicente would guide him, warning that failure would bring a bigger obstacle than he imagined. They maintained a healthy rivalry. A system message appeared for Adrian's status window. Impossible. View, he thought Vicente was at least a triple chain knight. One of the knights behind them was a real ranger. The rest were disguised knights, ready to act if needed. He'd ignore them. Mission began. Vicente said to conserve energy. Exhaustion meant freezing and poor fighting. Vicente kept talking. Adrian thought him more talkative than his father. They heard a noise. A soldier grabbed a spyglass. More orcs ahead. They looked unfriendly. The soldier asked how to proceed. They'd charge. An orc noticed them. The group stared at him. He thought it had been along. Arrows flew, striking the monsters. He drew his sword, leaping over. An attack, driving his blade in a monster. This was his longing. The battlefield was his life. Arwen appeared, warning of danger. He told her not to interfere. He held his sword, recalling 400 years ago, orcs were proud masters, not monsters. Not a myth, but a poor Adrian used. A huge aura filled the sky. He was ready. A flashback. The redhead heard people died easily at Winter Castle. He was told not to worry would happen. The useless prince would just hide. Stealing his uncle was important, not the prince. He just needed to watch Winter Castle and report anything suspicious. He offered money, asking if he could do it. Confidently, he agreed. The present battle raged. Man trembled, unsure. Desperate, he charged. A monster, but was easily defeated. Arwen easily defeated the creature. The beast fell. She said, "This is a battlefield. Don't lower your weapons." He accepted. No time to rest. The battle continued. Arwen told troops to prepare, noting the large enemy numbers. Suddenly a sword pierced a monster's chest. Everyone watched, surprised, was serious, fearless. Among the monsters, he charged other orcs. A flashback. That person killed endlessly, but it was never enough. He searched for enemies in orc lands. Gone, but he didn't stop. He aged, grew weaker. Demonic sword kept him. For his wish, he burned his life force. Another man who lost family to orcs. Another cycle of revenge. Found his enemy, but was broken. He still advanced, but it wasn't enough. The cycle ended. Old he fell, but never gave up. It was an untold story, unknown to anyone. He was a sword then. He alone would remember it. In the present, side of the orcs was defeated. The other side still struggled holding his sword. Adrian remembered the poem of vengeance, an unfinished song. He needed to finish the verse. Advanced focuses the system notified. A new verse added. Reciting the poem, faced the monsters to honor that man's soul. The system said the poem of vengeance became a requiem. The battle ended. Vincent broke a banner saying orcs were destroyed. Victory was theirs. Adrian asked if that was Vincent. The man from the past died hoping to destroy orcs. This man had the same name, a coincidence. The old man vowed to wipe out the race in his next life. Later, Vincent saw the red banner. Adrian, a tradition for the best fighter. It was an irreplaceable trophy for him. Arwen praised his bravery. All soldiers bowed. He watched, happy. Raising the banner, he declared their triumph. All soldiers acknowledged him, welcoming him to Winter Castle. He was happy with the banner, claiming it as Vincent's. Smugly said he had 60. Adrian watched silently, then ignored him, repeating the banner was his. Later, they burned the orc camp. Vincent noted few casualties for an elite unit. Arwen found it a pity, Vincent said. Victory honored the fallen, the Valahard family. Consoled spirits with enemy blood he recognized. Vincent, wondering if he was a reincarnation, he asked if the 3rd Legion always followed them. The guy made an excuse about rangers joining them. Adrian called it an incredible coincidence, thinking Vincent didn't trust him and set this up. Vincent found it strange an elite orc troop reached the mountain foot undetected. They returned to the castle. Valahard praised their excellent work and safe return. Adrian was still excited about the flag. Soldiers noted it his 11th time. He ignored them. Vincent told his father the orc unit appeared too early. Maybe they found prey or something happened in the mountains. His father said the situation was urgent, asking him to follow. Everyone entered the castle. Vincent told Adrian his performance was impressive. Adrian, confused, asked if he wasn't strange. Arwen said he was cold and embarrassed to change his attitude. Adelia appeared, happy, was safe. He picked up the flag, again asking if she was. Time passed. Vincent said a scout unit would check the mountains in days. They'd select elites. The prince needn't join. Adrian asked why, came to his room to repeat the meeting's news. Vincent said the commander ordered it. Adrian realized his uncle wanted them to bond. After sending him away, he thought, looking at the flag, that he was deeply immersed in battle, reciting epic poem fully for the first. He'll face similar things. His poems weren't truly his, but he had to make them so. He heard a noise. A small, unfriendly bird was at the window. Knew who sent it. The bird spoke, asking if he liked gift. Horrified, Adrian asked if she caused the orc battalion. She said she only wanted to give him a worthy adversary, hoping he'd receive it warmly. He thought she spoke as if nothing happened, despite dozens of patrolmen dying. Elves loved watching, enjoying the fight. They lured. This was her goodwill. He told her to stop stalling and state her wish. She called him cold, saying unrequited love hurt. She'd wait until he opened his heart, whispering, said something in the mountains needed seeing an ancient being. If he used this, he could create good poem. The bird deformed her. Connection was ending. The bird dropped dead. He thought she was annoying. To the end, she wanted him to create a new heroic chant. He'd play along. Later, Vincent said, patrolmen went in and out of mountains like home, but only stayed at the edges. Those who went deeper didn't return. Their mission was to stop monsters, not explore. Asked if no one knew what was the past. Knights, seeking transcendence, unraveled mysteries, but this place was untouched, a taboo. Assessing the situation, it was good he came. Vincent warned against going deeper. Adrian said he wouldn't, but he knew he would, just not yet. Later, cleaning his sword, Adrian wondered what was in the mountains. Wanted to explore but needed more. Battles and victories. Valahard blew a horn when realized it was attack. Knights took positions. He appeared. His uncle said, that's the place soldiers came down. Adrian wondered why scouts fled. On wolves appeared. Our hero knew something was wrong. Uncle said they should have caught us long ago. Advanced to the gate. A soldier said they'd be slaughtered. He'd stay to hold them off for his comrades to reach the castle. He died, but his comrades still didn't escape. Everyone watched from the wall. Valahard ordered all but border guards down. Warriors watched in despair and asked if he was brought to see this. His uncle said yes, it was a trap. Reinforcements would be eaten. Vincent said common sense fails against monsters. They don't value life. They want a war of attrition. Winter started, so no rash moves. Advanced, a soldier with a spyglass saw another soldier was still alive. Still many monsters remained. Valahard said this winter was different. The protagonist wondered if the elf was involved. A strong orc appeared, roaring loudly. Said the monsters would execute, but the protagonist the kid said, no, not declaring an execution. They're declaring a duel. Adrian then understood the elf's words about an ancient being in the mountains. The big beast spoke, I will fight with honor, restore my legion's name for the great king. Valahard asked if orcs hostages and challenged them. Adrian confirmed exactly. Neither believed him. He said he'd show them. From the wall, our hero accepted the challenge. Everyone but duelist retreat 200 paces, dismount wolves. The orc was surprised, asking how a human spoke their tongue, thinking he had their blood. Adrian said he never learned it, asking what the orc would do. The orc agreed, warning he wouldn't forgive staining the duel. The protagonist asked if they believed him now, but they didn't understand, yet they understood the situation. All orcs retreated, leaving only duelists. Said he'd never seen this in decades. Adrian said to save their surprise, orcs demanded simple terms: 5 duelists from the mountain range battle. The group planned. Adrian told Arwen to spots filled. Soldiers found it dangerous. The kid asked who else could to orcs, and he couldn't refuse someone so excited. He asked Arwen if she could. She said yes. Valhard later asked where he learned orc language, thinking they couldn't communicate. Adrian told him to study more, thinking only noble orcs serving the king spoke the ancient tongue. With plan sets, the battle group was decided. Things got interesting. The protagonist thought coincidences were rare. Since he arrived, elves appeared, and the Orc King emerged after 400 years. He didn't know what was happening, but it was time to fight. He felt confident. The Orc King watched, asking if it was his opponent. Adrian asked if he disliked it. The king said no. Spirit was the strongest, the worthiest. Body would be a rarer treat. Protagonist found it funny an orc first recognized him without prejudice. Vincent said the orc was too strong, offering to fight instead, but there was no time. He had another fight. The monsters weren't ready to talk. Adrian said orcs don't wait like knights, then charged the orc. He told them to survive. The battle continued. No clear winner. The protagonist hit the Orc King, but it did little. The monster said his strength was pitiful for his spirit. The kid summoning his mana heart said they'd do things properly. An aura covered the battlefield. Adrian thought the soldier's emotions matched a vengeful wanderer. He felt going there was right. Activating his power, he thanked the monster for waiting, saying it would be an offering to grow stronger. The kid wasn't messing around. The link to the next episode should be appearing on your screen. Just click on it and you can watch it.